Welcome to Victory Road Draft League Season 2's top 10 hypest matches of the regular season. In this video, we're going to be looking at the top 10 hypest or most exciting matches of the regular season. This doesn't include playoffs, as playoffs is going to be a separate video. It was basically a hype match churning machine, basically just generating a bunch of hype matches. So that gets its own video. This is regular season, of which we had a lot of matches to choose from, considering we took 10 weeks to finish the regular season. So really good matches to come. And we'll jump right in. I'm going to go over some of these matches. Before we start, though, I do want to give honorable mentions to the following matches. These are the matches between Noob Scrub and Colin, Morgana and Ember, Quest and King Fuse, Fingered Witch and Z-Quigs, and Quest and Z-Quigs. Really good matches. I definitely recommend checking them out. It was really hard to choose just 10 because there were so many great matches that occurred in the season. So definitely check out some of the ones that also aren't in the top 10 but are still hype. So without further ado, let's start with number 10 and take a look. Number 10 of the top 10 hypest matches of the regular season is going to go to Moon Drinkers versus Northern Necrosmas. That is Edgar versus Morgana's team, and we're going to take a look at how that battle went. So in this battle, Morgana pretty much had a really nice lead in the beginning. Both teams were able to set up hazards right away pretty much, and then Morgana went straight away for just hitting really hard with Mega Garchomp. So he was definitely able to seize some momentum, taking out both Registeel and and Golduck with Mega Garchomp, which is no easy task as they are pretty bulky Pokemon, especially Registeel. Primarina was a really good Pokemon on Morgana's team just in general for the matchup, and Primarina was able to do massive damage to Mienshao after Mega Garchomp went down. Mienshao surprisingly living due to the Assault Vest it had, and not only was Mienshao greatly damaged, but Primarina was able to take out Cofagrigus instead. Garchomp, using Poison Jab, took out Primarina, and then quickly retreated from Necrozma, who managed to take down both Mienshao and also take down Braviary with its Z Continental Crush. So after that Z Continental Crush, Garchomp had its back against the wall versus 4 Pokemon on Morgana's team, but with Rocks Up being able to destroy any sashes and having a Choice Scarf attached, Garchomp went on an outrage even after its self-induced confusion and swept through the team, which was relatively not very defensive. So even though Garchomp looked like it was in trouble because it had a Choice Scarf attached and outsped everything due to the others not having a Scarf and not being able to use Sash, it was able to turn a 4-1 situation into a 1-4 situation, and it was pretty impressive. Edgar was able to win this one thanks to Generog the Garchomp. I think his win con was definitely making sure that Primarina was down, as he couldn't outrage until Primarina was down because Primarina's fairy typing blocks outrage. So really strong performance and nice late game clutch by Edgar in that one. The next placement is number 9, and we're going to take a look at Harlem Gloomtrotters versus Florida Flesh Ribbons. This is Drizzleboy versus Lionhugs team, and let's take a look at that battle. Alright, so in this battle, Drizzleboy actually had a really interesting strategy right off the bat. He used a Toxic Orb on Drapion and wanted to fling it to hit Mega Sableye since it can't be poisoned by Toxic because of Magic Bounce. Mega Sableye, however, went for the Protect, scouting it out, and because it was a one-time thing, Drapion couldn't do it again. But Then Flareon was able to come in on the Will-O-Wisp from Mega Sableye and get a Flash Fire boost. After that, it hit extremely hard with Flare Blitz and obliterated Mega Sableye. Archeops also was at risk versus Flareon despite being faster. Head Smash missed and Flareon was able to do big damage, but the Eopapa Berry gave it one more chance to hit, and it went for Acrobatics. It set up a Tailwind for Florida Man, but Florida Man didn't appreciate getting hit by the rocks from Ferrothorn, but Masquerain came in and managed to survive a Flamethrower due to no hazards being up. It Quiver Danced and then took out Blacephalon, but quickly went down to Metagross right after a lot of back and forth happening. After Masquerain went down, Silvally went for the parting shot, and this was a pivotal moment. It went into Drapion, which went down to Polo, but Slurpuff then had an entry, a safe switch in to go for the belly drum, restore HP. Polo couldn't take it down, and then Slurpuff went for that sweep, and that's exactly what happened, turning a 2-4 situation into a 2-0 win as Unburden activated and Slurpuff was able to sweep. So, really impressive battle there. Drizzleboy actually told me that this was his most feared matchup versus Lionhugs, and it actually ended up being his best performance, I think, and he showcased what Slurpuff could do and why exactly it was a Tier 3 Pokemon, because once you get it going, it really can wreck teams that aren't prepared for it. So, really good performance there. So we're going to move on to the number 9 slot of the top 10 most hype, and this is going to be Northern Necrosmas versus Florida Flesh Ribbons, which is Morgana's team versus Lionhugs' team. So this battle started with, right off the bat, Dinosaur World, the Archeops doing big damage and taking out Tyranitar. Once Tyranitar went down, Mega Garchomp was a pretty big offensive presence for Morgana, being able to take out Kingdra and also damage Piloswine, although Piloswine with Eviolite was extremely bulky and able to take down Mega Garchomp. Piloswine was definitely consistently the biggest problem for Morgana in this matchup. It just generally has a really good offensive typing versus Morgana's team, and the Eviolite gave it some good defensive typing and prevented it from being taken down easily. Primarina was good for Morgana. It was in a good position to do some big damage, but one Meteor Mash was all it took for Metagross to take it out, and that's exactly what happened. In one shot, down went Primarina. Lionhugs was also using Sylveon to their advantage, being able to give a clerical roll to the team and pretty much wall a lot of Mantine's attacks. Mantine was able to wall Metagross as well, and it was looking like it was going to be pretty hard to take down for Lionhugs. It was pretty much up to Archeops, I think, to try and take down Mantine. So Mantine was acting as a good wall until finally there was an opening for Houndoom to come in and set up a substitute. It used Nasty Plot behind the substitute, which was very vital. Piloswine, instead of destroying the substitute, which was Lionhugs' biggest mistake, I think, went for the Stealth Rock, and Houndoom was able to take down Piloswine, going down itself in the process, so it was one-on-one, one-for-one, but Piloswine was definitely the most problematic Pokemon. After that, the match really picked up. Head Smash from Archeops missed as Mantine saw its life flash before its eyes, but it was able to defog and remove those rocks right before Gengar came in, keeping its sash intact and sweeping the rest of the team with its superior speed and its very nice special attack, turning the scenario from a 1-4 into a 1-0 and granting Morgana the victory. Gengar definitely being one of the premier clutch Pokemon in this season of Draft League. So really interesting battle, and we're going to move on to number 7. Number 7 is going to be the battle between Florida Flesh Ribbons and Blitz City Hacksaws. This is Lionhugs versus Colin, and in this battle it was actually a little bit more slow-paced than most of the other battles on this list. but it was interesting nonetheless. So right off the bat, Lionhugs started with an extremely valuable Pokemon to them, Beware, hitting like a truck, being able to one-hit KO Camerupt with return and deal big damage to Scrafty. Overall, it did huge damage. Scrafty, however, would prove to be a quite troublesome Pokemon to Lionhugs in this matchup. But one of the stars of this matchup, Shibui the Amoonguss, was able to take on Nidoqueen, which is also a really good Pokemon for Lionhugs, consistently destroying its substitutes with Giga Drain, and then tanking an Ice Beam before taking it down with a Giga Drain as well. Metagross is also a good Pokemon for Lionhugs, as it was able to hit Rotom Wash very hard with the Zen Headbutt, bringing it down to only 1/3 of its HP. And overall, I'd say Scrafty was the best Pokemon for Colin in this matchup. Really resilient, restoring a lot of HP with Drain Punch. One of the more hyped moments of this match is when it used Throat Chop versus Sylveon, who would normally be able to take it down very easily with a Hyper Voice, and instead was not able to take it down due to Throat Chop. Overall, it was an extremely formidable Pokemon in this matchup. Beware, Miami Iron the Beware, was able to do big damage to Scrafty, but Scrafty's type advantage caused Lionhugs not to want to use it. Lionhugs, of course, still pretty strong on the defense with Amoonguss, and it was able to pretty much tank a lot of hits from various Pokemon and do damage to other Pokemon, such as Rotom Wash, which it poisoned and ended up taking down. Metagross and Megalopony would then exchange some hits on each other, as Lionhugs waited for a good opportunity to bring in Metagross, which was predicting a return from Megalopony, who was poisoned from Amoonguss. And then once Metagross was able to come in safely, it was able to pick off Megalopony, not before being hit and burned by the Fire Punch from Megalopony and going down in the process, both of them taking each other out. Amoonguss versus Scrafty was really intense, because it became clear that Scrafty was able to do okay damage even though Drain Punch was resisted, and it was able to restore its HP, while Amoonguss had to rely on trying to poison Scrafty to deal additional damage in conjunction with its attacks such as Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb. The problem was that Shedskin was able to remove the poison status, so Amoonguss had to switch out to regenerate some of his HP. Kingdra was actually trying to set up Rain on Tapu Koko, but because Tapu Koko was scarfed, it managed to take out Kingdra with a Dazzling Gleam critical hit, which was pretty vital because Kingdra would have lived otherwise, I think. In the end, it was all up to Amoonguss versus Scrafty, and everybody was watching with bated breath to see what would happen. Once Scrafty would be able to take out Amoonguss, it could easily take on the other two Pokemon as well. But Scrafty needed to take Amoonguss down, who had Synthesis, so it was able to restore some HP. In the end, it all came down to luck from Shedskin, and Shedskin did not activate because of its 33% chance to activate. So combined with the Sludge Bombs from Shibui the Amoonguss, Scrafty eventually did go down, and Amoonguss was the victorious Pokemon in this battle. This battle was quite the nail-biter, and definitely a really interesting and complex one. Interestingly enough, Amoonguss only came to this battle and no other battle for Lionhugs, and it was interesting that Amoonguss did so well considering Electric Terrain was up, and Amoonguss usually relies on Spore, which it can't use during Electric Terrain. So, yeah, this battle was definitely an interesting one, and one of the ones I really liked watching. So we go on to number 6, the number 6 most hype being Waterfront Woods versus Night Wishy-Washy. That is Sir Roland's team versus Fingered Witch's team. And we'll take a look at this battle. So right off the bat, Frostlass was able to set up some spikes and then take down Sizzler with Destiny Bond, both of the leads going down to each other. And then right after that, it became really offensive from both sides. Electros was able to take Cobalion down with a Z fire move and do pretty massive damage to Absol, who switched into it as well. Volcanion helped Sir Roland regain some of the momentum after that, because it was able to take out Electros and the score became even. But once that happened, Fingered Witch did see some of the momentum with Nidoking. It turned quickly into a 4-2 score after Diancie was able to do big damage with Power Gem, and then Nidoking was able to do big damage to Staraptor with Sludge Wave, taking it down in one shot when it switched in to Nidoking's move. The score was now 4-2, but Gardevoir came out and traced Sheer Force, bringing its power up to very powerful levels due to the fact that it used Moonblast and Psychic. Psychic was able to take down most of the Pokemon on Fingered Witch's team, and it was Choice Scarf, so it was locked into Psychic and needed to switch out of Incineroar, who took down Absol, and Absol was used as fodder. Gardevoir came out and on the one-on-one traced Intimidate. That Intimidate trace was vital because it was able to live the Darkest Lariat from Incineroar and then fire back another Moonblast to take it down. Without Intimidate, it would not have been able to do that. So this match was definitely showcasing how clutch Trace can be and how useful Sir Roland was able to use it in this matchup. The one-on-one was really intense, and Gardevoir really pulled through for Sir Roland. Really, really hype battle. So next we have number 5, and this is going to be I Like Corsola versus the Star Conquerors. That is Z-Quig's team versus Benji's team. So in this one, Benji was going to set up Rain. He brought his Rain team with Pelipper, and he used Mega Swampert in the Rain. He definitely wanted to apply some offensive pressure, and he was able to bulldoze through Scizor, despite Scizor boosting, because Scizor flinched from the waterfall. In the Rain, it would do big damage, and Mega Swampert is relatively bulky as well. So the Supersonic Sky Strike from Gyarados the Gyarados, actually it was able to live and switch out pretty quickly. Gyarados being boosted by the Rain itself was something that was surprising in how much damage it was able to deal to Vaporeon. So Gyarados, toxic by Mega Swampert, actually decided to go and boost up to try and wreck before it died, but Pelipper was a good defensive switch in from Benji, being able to live the waterfall at 1% and then roost off the damage while Gyarados died to the poison. Corsola versus Shuckle was pretty intense because Shuckle wanted to set up rocks, but Corsola's Magic Coats just bounce the rocks back, and that would really hurt Benji in the long run, as Mega Swampert wouldn't be able to switch out. Corsola also going for some head smashes on Shuckle, dealing huge damage and setting up a Reflect. Finally, before dying, Corsola was actually able to take out Steelix with Rain boosted Scald, and Corsola just proving to be a really vital Pokemon to Z-Quigs in this particular match. Before going down to toxic damage, it was able to do quite a bit. So Vaporeon was getting hurt. The rocks definitely didn't help when it came in, and then Whimsicott was able to take it down to the point where it wasn't comfortable setting up a wish for itself because it switched out. But due to the rocks that Corsola had bounced back, Mega Swampert actually went down, and no wish was received by any Pokemon, and Vaporeon was really vulnerable. Rocks eventually did go up, but it was starting to look a lot harder for Benji as the score narrowed to 3-3, and Licky Licky was getting some momentum. Vaporeon was looking like it was in big trouble because it wouldn't want to get hit by a Thunderbolt, and Pelipper didn't want to get hit either. It did eventually go down to Licky Licky's Thunderbolt while Licky Licky was getting poisoned. Electrode definitely hit hard in the rain with Thunder, even against a resisted Pokemon like Rotom Heat, which ended up taking over 40% and wanted to Volt Switch out of there. So Licky Licky came back in, died to the Thunder, and Electrode was overall doing really well, but Whimsicott was a problem. Hidden Power was not enough to take it down. Moonblast through the light screen took it down 5%, and then Whimsicott actually ended up setting a Sunny Day to disrupt Benji further. The Thunder missing and Whimsicringe finally going down to Electrode's Volt Switch. Rotom Heat at 9% from the rocks. Plesioth, the Vaporeon at 7%. It was a really tight game, but in the sun, insult to injury from Z-Quigs with that sun going up, but Rotom Heat managed to clinch it at 9%, and it was a very narrow and intense hype win, both sides playing really well in this battle. Z-Quigs managing to secure that win. So really interesting match, especially at the end. Lots of interesting dynamics going on there with the Pokemon that were left. So the next battle is number 4, and we are going to take a look at Sun and Friendly versus Rio Grande Rapidash, which is Noel versus Emberhoof. So this was the first team in which Sun and Friendly had acquired a Sand Core as well as a Sun Core, so we see both of them in this battle. Right off the bat, Klefki was trying to set up spikes and to use Magnet Rise to not worry about Crocodile so that it could set up more hazards. But Emberhoof was really in control of the hazards game in this match, using Fortress to rapid spin away some of the hazards, and Crocodile was a really strong offensive presence, Earthquake hitting pretty much everything except Shiftry on the team really hard. Shiftry did take a moment to boost up in the sun once Latias went down, safely switching in and preserving its sash. However, because Crocodile was holding a focus sash, Shiftry was harmed and its focus sash was not intact anymore. So it had to switch out and it wouldn't get a chance to boost later on in the match. Everything was pretty much even. There was a lot of back and forth, and the score was 5-5 for a little while. Warmth the Torkoal trying to set up some more sun so Shiftry could come in, but once again the hazard control by Ember really effective, as not only Fortress but also Tornadus was able to control hazards. And then finally, once Dusclops came out, things started taking a turn for the worse for Sun and Friendly, as Emberhoof was able to not only taunt Klefki and prevent it from setting up hazards, but also spread burn and do big damage with Seismic Toss to an already pretty weakened team. So first, Dusclops was able to take out Klefki with Seismic Toss. Then it lived a Dark Pulse from Shiftry, took out Shiftry in as well with Seismic Toss, started pressuring Gigalith with Pain Split, restoring its HP and doing big damage to Gigalith, taking out Warmth the Torkoal as well with Seismic Toss, and quickly bringing the score down to a 5-2 scenario for Ember. Gigalith not only having a hard time to take down Dusclops, but also getting burned by Dusclops. The Seismic Toss really pressuring Gigalith, as well as the burn. Once Dusclops was able to take down Gigalith to 10%, Excadrill came in to try and sweep, and that's where the comeback started happening with those hazards, and with Excadrill's nice offensive presence, it was able to start taking down Pokemon, and Milotic and Dragalge, sorry, I forgot its name, went down to Excadrill Finally, the last sandstorm was set up by Everlasting Gigalith, who quickly went down, and then Excadrill was able to sweep the remaining Pokemon who had been weakened before and also did not appreciate taking hazard damage, and the score went from a 5-2 scenario to a 1-0 scenario, with Excadrill coming in clutch through that sandstorm. A really great battle overall, especially with Ember's really good preparation. He almost clinched this battle, and Excadrill really went above and beyond in this one. It was a good showing for Sand. So the next battle is the number 3 slot, and this is going to be Waterfront Woods versus Ferocious Victini. That is Sir Roland versus Quest. Whoops, that is not Sir Roland versus Quest. This is. So this battle, right off the bat, started pretty wild as we saw Mega Absol actually using a special moveset and Ariados missing its Mega Horn, going down to the Flamethrower, which was pretty crucial for Ariados. Zygarde then came in and it was hitting pretty hard, taking out Volcanion already right off the bat. And Grassy Surge was able to greatly benefit Torterra, who did massive damage, over 70% with a resisted Wood Hammer against Kuryu, the Tapu Bulu. Of course, Kuryu was a big threat, but was taken out after recoil damage from Gallade with the Shadow Sneak. Zydog, of course, being able to punch big holes in quite a bit and take out Gallade. Lots of back and forth happening. Staraptor going away, and then Frostlass surviving a crunch with the Focus Sash, preventing Mega Aerodactyl from using crunch, and then freezing Aerodactyl and taking it down with the Ice Beam was able to narrow the score, although Zydog was able to take out Frostlass afterwards. Both Zydog and Staraptor scarfed. Staraptor was able to do big damage to both Helioptile and Zygarde. Finally, Empoleon was able to take down Staraptor, and it became a 1-1 scenario with Empoleon and Torterra, Gen 4 starter versus Gen 4 starter. And you'd think Torterra is slow, which it normally is slower than Empoleon, but Roland invested just enough in speed to outspeed Empoleon and ended up dealing the finishing blow with Earthquake. A really surprising moment that shocked a lot of people who watched this battle, because you never expect Torterra to outspeed Empoleon, but just enough speed was put into Torterra to outspeed. So really smart decision by Sir Roland, and it ended up giving him the 1-0 victory. We move on to number 2, and this is going to be Pitiful Punching Bags versus the Star Conquerors. That is Quasimodo versus Benji. So right off the bat, Electrode was extremely helpful to Benji, paralyzing one of the biggest threats on Quasimodo's team, Como-O. Sticky Web managed to go up from Benji's side, and that would be also a thorn in Quasi's side. Gypsaros was able to set up Rain for Mega Swampert, but promptly went down afterwards, as Electrode was able to take out Greninja as well. So Mega Swampert then was poised to sweep, Mimikyu coming in. Mimikyu had its disguise, however, and not only did it have its disguise, but it set up a Swords Dance. Focus Sash let it live 2 attacks from Mega Swampert as it used Wood Hammer and took out Mega Swampert and went down in the process. Both of the Pokemon going down. Shuckle versus Wobbuffet was a little bit of a momentum slow, but Wobbuffet saw that because of the Toxic, it didn't want to stay in. So Lucario ended up being the one to come in, and thanks to Shuckle's knockoff, received a boost from Justified too. That allowed it to boost its attack to unreal levels using Swords Dance twice, boosting to +5. But once Steelix came in, Surdy allowed it to live that really strong close combat and take down Lucario with an Earthquake as well. Very quickly, Kartana revenge killed Steelix, taking it down, but then because of Sticky Web and its slower and the fact it was slower, Rathian the Dragonite was able to take down Kartana. And Benji actually had a lead at this point, 3-2, but Wobbuffet did do some Wobbuffet stuff, encoring the Dragon Dance and then bringing Como in to boost with the Clangorous Soul Blaze against Shuckle. The Clangorous Soul Blaze was successful and was able to Omni boost Como-O, and Como-O was looking really scary at that moment. Electro then was able to set up a Reflect before going down, and then finally Dragonite came in to try and take down Como-O, but Pagafet the Wobbuffet came in to try and deal with Dragonite. Because Wobbuffet had its berry, it was able, sorry, not a berry, yeah, it didn't have a berry, but it was able to, wait, did it have a berry? I don't think it had a berry, actually. But anyways, it was able to use Destiny Bond, and it put Dragonite in a very tough position because it was going to use Encore if Dragonite used Dragon Dance, to which Como-O could come in and take it out, or Dragonite would have just died because of Destiny Bond and it had to attack. So really smart use of Wobbuffet, and Quasi managed to take it away with the 1-0 versus Benji, but a really strong showing by both sides. So we move into the #1 most hyped battle of the regular season of FNF Victory Road Draft League Season 2, and that is going to be the legendary battle between Pitiful Punching Bags and Sun and Friendly. This is Quasimodo versus Noel. And this battle was so wacky. So, first of all, wacky enough was Jigglypuff as a lead and going for the Sing. Of course, it is inaccurate, but it did manage to land against Gigalith, who wanted to set up Stealth Rock but couldn't. Promise the Mesprit then came in. Jigglypuff also going for Misty Terrain to try and prevent any status from happening, and wishing Como-O, being able to allow Como-O to not only amass a speed boost, but set up a substitute and go for Belly Drum. This, of course, was not the best, however, though, for Como-O because Trick Room was set up. It was able to hit Mesprit due to the fact that Mesprit missed a Zen Headbutt, which was actually pretty important later on down the line. If Mesprit had full HP, it would have been different. And then Wobbuffet was able to counter Mesprit's U-turn, taking out the sleeping Gigalith. Latias then later came in to trick Wobbuffet into continually putting up safeguards. But now that Latias was weakened by Draco Meteor's special attack drop, it was able to... Barbaracle was able to come in and set up a Shell Smash. Klefki threatened Barbaracle with Thunder Wave, but was not able to take it down. Meanwhile, Jigglypuff went for some Wish. Quickly, Jigglypuff was setting up, but Togedemaru finally managed to take out Jigglypuff as Hitmonchan came in, and Hitmonchan was pretty valuable going for Rapid Spin. Of course, Jigglypuff was able to sing Klefki, which was asleep, and Barbaracle set up. Klefki was able to wake up just before Barbaracle went for the liquidation and paralyze it to allow Togedemaru to take it down. And then Hitmonchan was able to come in and survive a Specs Torkoal Flamethrower due to the fact that it had an Assault Vest attached. That was very vital, and Hitmonchan managed to bring the score down to 3-2. Promise came in to try and change things with Trick Room, but because of Mach Punch, Promise went down. It was all up to Togedemaru. Hitmonchan, being slower, went first, but actually missed with the Drain Punch, and Togedemaru took it down, taking down Wobbuffet as well. Finally, Mega Alakazam came in, hit by Zing Zap. It missed the Focus Blast. Trick Room ran out, so Mega Alakazam would go first, and the Focus Blast finally hit, taking Togedemaru down despite the terrible accuracy and winning this match. Quasimodo, of course, going into this match with the context of this being the final match that he could play. If he won, he got into playoffs. If he lost, he didn't, and it was versus Seed 1, who he had lost against in Season 1 of Week 10 as well. He also brought Jigglypuff. So overall, it was an extremely hype match in hype circumstances with wild things that happened during that match and a lot of good strategy from both sides and lots of luck as well. So really interesting match, and that is why Quasimodo versus Noel gets the #1 slot in the hypest match of the regular season of FNF Victory Road Draft League. So thank you for tuning in to the top 10 hypest matches of the regular season of Draft League. Stay tuned for the top 10 hypest matches of playoffs. There were a lot of really hype matches in playoffs, so really interesting to see which ones stood out the most. Until then, this is Noel from Sun and Friendly, and I'll see you then.